It has been a while. It's been very busy around HHWLOD headquarters as we've been battling website problems and all kinds of stuff. So we should probably get to that first. If you are subscribed to this feed, guess what? The feed is going away kind of, most likely when we redo the website here in a couple days. So in about a week, double check your feed. If it's not on iTunes anymore, just resubscribe to the new one. There'll be a new WDTV feed. All the old podcasts will go back on it. There'll be a new HHWLOD feed. All the feeds will be redone. Brand spanking new, better than ever. We ran into some technical glitches. We had an old version of the website that wasn't quite up to snuff with what iTunes wanted, and it was giving us some problems, not just with iTunes, but also with cyber attacks on the internet, all that kind of stuff. So we're starting from scratch. We're making it brand new. All the shows will still be there. Don't worry about missing anything. But just to be safe, in about a week, double check, resubscribe to the feed through iTunes or whatever podcatching type device you use, and everything should go just fine. We're sorry for the inconvenience, but hey, sometimes this stuff happens.
Plus, don't forget to check out our new revamped website in about a week at HHWLOD.com. We're going to have some new content. It's going to be brand spanking new and shiny, so you definitely want to check that out too.
Yeah, I'll actually have a new podcast coming out, Jersey Shore. That's SURE, and that'll be up on HHWLOD.com soon. We gave a sneak peek on LOD a few weeks ago, and got some pretty good response from it, so I can't wait to launch the podcast proper.
It's a very clever name, by the way, Jordan.
Thank you. Sincere thank you. Shall we get to the news, gentlemen?
Absolutely.
Alrighty. Well, let's start with some Season 3 news before we move on to any Season 4 news, and that is about the Season 3 Blu-ray. I don't know if we have the specs for the general Blu-ray or DVD yet, but we do have at least the packaging specs for the Season 3 limited edition Blu-ray, and boy, is it a doozy, in the best possible way. This is a double-decker fish tank full of zombie heads display case. It is backlit. It's got 5 zombie heads in it, and possibly liquid that they're floating in it. It's a little bit hard to tell from the picture. It could just be simulated, but this thing is really cool looking.
It costs like $1 million, right?
It's MSRP, which of course you're not going to pay actually anywhere except maybe Best Buy or something, is $150. It's available on Amazon for pre-order for $104.99, but if you are the type of collector who likes very nice packaging to display, or just a big fan of the Governor, or maybe you just really like decapitated heads floating in fish tanks, hey, this is for you.
Definitely take a look at the picture, at least on Amazon. The collectible that comes with this is it's really up there on the par with the screwdriver head opening zombie that we had for season. That was in season 2, I think. That was a special one for that. This is really nice. It looks well done.
Yeah, it definitely looks to be very good quality. And you know, for me, I'm not really the type to go out and buy these type of special edition display items, but if I was,
Johnny on. Sorry.
But if I was, this would definitely be one I'd want. I think probably even cooler than the screwdriver head zombie from last year. I mean, that was very neat, but this definitely feels like a piece of the show.
This would look better on the shelf too. It'd be a little more tameable with a regular entertainment center shelf than a giant head with a screwdriver sticking out of it would be. I know Johnny and Russ are both big limited edition Blu-ray collectors. And Russ got that giant Marvel Universe stuff that just came out. Did an unboxing for that on HHWLOD.com. And this is the kind of thing they do right up their alley. I mean, it's really cool.
I would totally splurge on this collector set. I haven't even purchased the Blu-rays from season 2 at all, but which is weird. I just realized, but I would totally get this fish tank set up. It looks awesome.
In our next bit of news, we actually have an upgrade for 3 of the cast members for The Walking Dead. Emily Kinney, Chad Coleman, and Sonequa Martin Green, that's Beth, Tyrese, and Sasha, respectively, have all been up to series regulars for season 4.
Carol's still not a season regular?
She is not, and that's going to be based on whatever contract she signed when she came on the show. They all came on later, so their contracts would have been completely different, would have probably had different amounts of time. If you sign a 4-year contract, well, your contract's not going to be renegotiated until it's time to re-up.
You would think, out of professional courtesy, they would put her name at the beginning with all the other major players.
It's not really, as I understand it anyway, it's not a professional courtesy thing. It's literally just the papers you sign for your contract tell you where you're going to be.
I get that, but, she's a big part of the show. Let's throw her a bone. Put her in there, Hell, she had more screen time and words than T-Dog ever did.
Was he a series regular, though, or was he
I don't know.
Supporting?
Well, guys, you know what? They've been going through showrunners so quickly, maybe you'll get your chance to do that.
Maybe.
That's true.
I've really grown fond of Carol. I want her to be, respected as far as the actress goes. That's all.
I do not blame you. And I should also mention that they are joining David Morrissey, the Governor, who was also promoted to series regular for series 4. That does not mean that he will actually be in every episode, but it does mean he'll be credited as a series regular.
Well, okay, if he's going to be made a series regular, why would he not be in most of the episodes?
He probably will be. I'm just saying
Right.
for story reasons. And
that leads to my next comment, which is boo.
Let's see what they do with it before we do it. It could be awesome.
Right. Maybe so. Let's hope.
I mean, we've barely seen Laurie this season because, of course, spoiler, she died. But she still gets top billing right after Andrew Lincoln. So it might be something they let David Morrissey said Governor let his character life fallow for a while, even though he's in the credits, and then bring him back toward the end of the season. Or who knows? It's all speculative at this point.
Right. I believe another big difference, and I could be wrong on this, but I'm pretty sure this is the case between series regular and guest stars, is a series regular gets paid for every episode regardless of whether they're in it, and a guest star only gets paid for the episodes they're actually in.
It's like salary versus hourly.
Pretty much, yeah. So that's another big thing. So if you are, the credit is more telling people, the viewers and producers out there, anybody who's watching the show, this is what camp the actors are in. So if you were to move a person from one to the other, you would actually have to pay them a lot more, as opposed to just giving them a nicer credit.
I'm glad that means we're probably going to see more of Tyrese and Sasha, because Tyrese is such a big presence in the books and such a cool character. I really would love the TV audience to get a taste of the Tyrese that I know. You know what I mean? Or an idea of what that character means to me in the book. Sasha, it seems like a cool foil for him, and I think will also be a good character going forward. It's interesting. I'm glad they're going to have more time on the screen. We also got a new cast member announced.
Yes, we did. Larry Dillard Jr. will be playing the role of, let me make sure I get this right, Bob Stuckey, who is a character from the book, and the only thing I'll say, so we won't spoil anything, is that he was a resident of Woodbury. This is going to be a different take on the character. I mean, of course, his name's actually spelled slightly differently, and one of his major roles from the book that time frame has already passed in the show and didn't happen the same way, so it's unclear exactly what he will be doing, but it is a character from the book. Mr. Dillard is also a veteran of The Wire, which Chad Coleman was from, so we have 2 alums of that show on Walking Dead now, and now granted, I have to admit, even as a TV guy, I have not seen The Wire yet. It is on my watch list.
Oh my god, really?
But I do know it is well respected as one of the best shows of the last few decades on television, so it is always good to see people from quality shows joining The Walking Dead.
I haven't seen it either, Jordan.
Jordan's such a TV guy, though. I'm just very shocked. I mean, wow.
Wasn't it on HBO?
It was, but it's been on DVD forever.
Okay.
You really owe it to yourself. I mean, I watched it by checking it out of the library, for Pete's sake. I mean, you should be able to find it fairly cheaply, or at your local library even. It's really one of the best TV dramas ever, and these actors are both really strong in it. I mean, other actors just found out of that show. Idris Elba probably has gotten the most fame from The Wire or whatever, but I mean, it is one of the best TV shows of all time. I definitely put it in my top 10 in the drama category.
How many episodes?
If I'm not mistaken, I think it's 5 seasons overall.
Are they like shorter seasons, like
they're
13 or whatever?
They're 13 episode seasons, yeah.
Okay.
Look, I just got through Buffy and Angel this past year, so I'm still behind on my TV viewing. I'll get to it.
But you should definitely owe it to yourself. That and the same creative team, Tom Fontana, and created Homicide: Life on the Street, which is also one of my favorite dramas of all time.
Now, something I'll tell you guys, we didn't talk about this before the show. We lost 2 major female characters this past year, here, and we've gained quite a few male characters. But are there any particular characters from the books you're hoping to see in the show, or are you interested in other female characters joining the show in general? Because it seems like we've got a pretty uneven balance at the moment.
Well, didn't they announce what's her name? Karen, the character Karen. I guess she's the Woodbury survivor.
Yeah, that's Karen. She's played by Melissa Ponzio, and she will be a recurring guest star in season 4.
So there's another woman character. That kind of stuff doesn't bother me. I'd watch the show, I guess, if it was nothing but women. You know what I'm saying? So I don't think like that.
No, I understand, but it does stick out that there are so many male characters right now, and the two major deaths of this past season were both female, and I guess maybe even selfishly for myself, I'd like to see more women on the show, because I'd rather look at them than the dudes. But also, it just does seem weird how many male characters there are at this point.
My favorite heroic figure probably ever is a female, as far as movies go, and that's
I'm going to guess Ripley.
Yeah, Ripley from the Alien Saga. That role was written for a man at first, and then I can't remember who made the decision to cast Sigourney Weaver, but I love female hero figures. I think they're awesome, and that's why I'm really enjoying Carol, because she's kind of stepped up and grown a sack. And can we say that?
It's up to you. Not us. I'm fine with just about anything. So.
It's just she's grown and gained courage, and I like that. You'd mentioned, was there anybody from the comics we want to see? I think I'm past the comics now. I'm ready for new stories. The things I wanted to see from the comics, I've seen. They've happened on the show, so I'm ready for new stuff to be completely surprised.
Which, maybe this is a good transition then, Brad, into what do we want to see out of season 4? Because, like you said, the major plot lines that most people think of when they think of The Walking Dead kind of end at the prison. And that's not to say there wasn't really good stuff after the prison in the book. In fact, my favorite storyline, which I believe is called Beware the Hunters, happens way after the prison in the book. But not only are those major storylines without one accepted behind us, the way this season ended is very different than how the prison storyline ended. Which, granted, they're not out of the prison yet, but even where they are is very different from anywhere they were ever at the prison in the book. So this next season can go anywhere. So what kind of stuff do you guys really want to see? What kind of stuff do you want them to stay away from? Do you want them to stay at the prison most of the season? You want them to be venturing out into the countryside? What is it that you expect and want out of season 4?
Well, what makes the show watchable for me is that it's not a rote, by no shape or shape adaptation of the comics. I'm very thankful for that. I think what I'm looking forward to the most are the surprises, are the way that they're switching things up. Like you say, putting Bob Stickey in this part of the timeline, keeping Shane for as long as they did in that part of the timeline. Mixing up the characters the way they are in the situations. I think that's what's really going to draw me back in season 4. What drew me back at the end of season 2 into season 3 was wanting to see those things in the book, wanting to see Michonne and her pets, wanting to see the prison and the governor and all that entail. Now that we've seen all that, I think that my hook for season 4 is seeing what they change. Like you say, the status quo at the end of season 3 is much different than anything we saw in the prison storyline in the comic. And what's going to bring me back to watch it again next season, I think, is seeing how, what next changes occur. What next, what new surprises are in store for me, since we're in uncharted territory. We're in a narrative, a whole new narrative.
The thing I want to see for season 4, I think we got a taste of that this past season with the episodes that the new showrunner scripted. What's his name? Scott something?
Scott Gimple.
Yeah, the Michonne, Rick, and Carl episode was really good. I want to see those character-centric episodes. I don't need the whole cast in every episode. I really appreciated those episodes that he wrote, and I think he did a really good job. So I'm looking forward to a little more character development, concentrating on 2 or 3 characters at a time throughout an episode. I think that would really benefit the show as well.
It's a real tightrope too. On one hand, you're going to have people criticizing if it's all character stuff and character study more, the more thoughtful moments. They'll criticize if there isn't enough zombie carnage, and then if you have something that's just all out action every week after week, then people criticizing that they don't get enough of the character development. So it's a real fine line they have to walk, I think, and it's no wonder they've had a lot of different people try to do it.
Yeah, I think there is no right or wrong answer for a lot of things in life, but as far as what makes a good show, it's all subjective. Some people love Game of Thrones. I tried 5 episodes and I'm out. It's all subjective, and you can't please everybody, I suppose. So I may criticize the show here and there. I may criticize the showrunner or whatever, but at least he's trying to do his best, and I should learn to appreciate that.
I agree with you, Brad, that I'd like to see more stories focused on a smaller cast of characters, 2 or 3, 4 or 5, instead of the whole cast. I feel that, and I said this before, but I feel like when the show falters is when they're trying to cover 30 seconds of the story and 2 minutes of that story and 5 minutes of the story, and the episodes that I think, in general, most of us have really liked the most are those ones where it's, hey, here's 4 characters in a van, or here's Shane and Rick, here's just one storyline or maybe 2, but just focusing on those for the hour, and those have been the ones that have worked the best, at least for me. So I'd like to see more of that in this next season, which will be interesting, given that there'll be a lot more people around with all the people from Woodbury coming over at the end of the season. I don't know how that'll work exactly, but hey, stranger things have been done. I'm also interested, I know, Brad, you're trepidatious about this, but I'm definitely interested to see what they can do with the governor around as a main cast member. Well, like I said before, that does not mean he'll be in every episode. It just means he'll be paid for all of them, as I understand it. But will he be that threat on the outside? Will he be setting up a rival town? What does this mean? I'd even be interested to see if they might roll him into the Beware the Hunter storyline, which again, I won't spoil, because if and when that comes around on the TV show, or if and when people get around reading the books, it is crazy. And like I said, my favorite storyline in the whole series so far. But I could see, especially with how off the rails he went by the end of the season, them being able to fold him into that storyline pretty neatly. So that would be pretty cool. I am interested in meeting the new people from Woodbury, not just Mr. Stuckey, but also Karen and who else is there that can bring new life to the show, who can bring new storylines to the show, how they interact with our cast members, that kind of stuff. Before we get on with the rest of the show, we should point out that our sponsors this week and every week are Discount Comic Book Service, which you can find at dcbservice.com this month for April, which is only a couple days left, but like Russ always says, you can always get those orders in right up to the wire. They've got Batman Superman #1 for $1.99, that's 50% off. They've got Lazarus #1 for $1.49, that's also 50% off. They got lots of great deals, lots of cool Walking Dead merchandise you can get on the buy there. You get the hardcovers and softcovers. Check it out if you're enjoying the show and you haven't checked out the book yet. There's a multitude of awesome storylines in that book that you can check out at dcbservice.com. And of course, when you order, they already have all kinds of great crazy deals, 50% off like the ones I just mentioned there, all the way up to even sometimes 75% off. Enter in the code when you check out WD8. You'll save an extra 8%, and that'll let them know that you're listening to their ads here on this program, and we would always appreciate that. So check out dcbservice.com, enter the code WD8, save an extra 8% off your already crazily discounted comic book and comic book related merchandise order. Now, this summer coming up, gentlemen, we have a zombie movie that'll be a big budget blockbuster coming out on June 21st, 2013. We've talked about it a little bit here and there, but what are your thoughts now that you've seen some more trailers and footage for World War Z, or World War Z for the rest of the world?
I'm freaking ready. I know it's not the quote-unquote regular, normal zombies, but it just looks good. And I'm encouraged because I'm not a huge Brad Pitt fan, but I really want to see this movie, so I'm happy. I'm great. I'm excited.
I read the book, and I'm interested to see how they're going to adapt that to the screen, if at all, or if it's just World War Z in name only. Either way, it looks interesting. I was somewhat interested after the first trailer. The second trailer really kind of sparked my interest more, so I'm interested in seeing that quite a bit.
For me, it's just the way the zombies move and behave, like a colony of ants or bacteria. They get an infection. Yes, and granted, I have not read World War Z. It's another thing on my to-read pile. I did love the zombie survival guide, though. I know this is nothing like the book from every indication and article I've read. And granted, part of the reason I'm not too concerned about that is I haven't read the book. But for me, what I'm most excited about is that this is just like nothing I've ever seen before. The way the zombies are behaving, the world they created for this movie just looks really neat and interesting. And should it have maybe not been called World War Z? Well, we'll know for sure once we've seen the movie, and people who have read the book and seen the movie will be able to compare it. But that said, I still think it looks really neat.
Something else I wanted to mention since we have you online here, Jordan. I know you got to see the pilot for the new Zombieland TV series on Amazon.
Yes, I did.
You want to tell us your thoughts and a little bit about that?
Sure. Well, a little bit of background. Amazon is moving into production of original, television in quotes programs, but specifically made for Amazon Prime. Just like Netflix did with House of Cards, which is awesome, or the upcoming season 4 of Arrested Development, which they just released the first clip of that today, which was really funny. Amazon's doing the same thing, and they did it a little bit differently. Instead of just here's a program, they came out the other week with 13 pilots, and that was split between, I believe, 7 or 8 programs for adults, and the rest were kids programming. I watched all of the pilots for adults because I'm not too interested in shows for 2 and 3-year-olds. Sorry, and to various degrees of success, I thought that the shows worked. Some were better than others. Unfortunately, Zombieland was the one I thought probably worked the least. It is written by the same people who did the movie, and for anyone who knows a lot about the movie Zombieland, which was really fun, it was originally intended as a television series, and after they were told, and granted, remember, this is pre-Walking Dead, zombies will never work as a TV show, they went and turned it into a movie to great success and to a big fan base, and now that they've turned it into a television show, I've got to say the producers who told them this will not work on TV were probably right, because it is not very good.
Yeah, I didn't get a chance to see it, and one of the main reasons I haven't got around to it is because of opinions like yours that it didn't turn out as well as they would have hoped.
I tried to watch it when they first announced it, but apparently they announced it too early, so there was an issue with the webpage.
Yeah, it was like the link to the webpage got leaked out before the file was actually there, so they hadn't officially announced it, it just got out. So that's the problem.
But I was really interested in watching it because I loved the movie Zombieland also, but after hearing you talk about it, I got better things to do.
Yeah, and it's a shame, and it really speaks to, and I'm not the first person to say this, but I will paraphrase the people who have already said it because they're absolutely right. It really speaks to how well the cast for that movie worked. And, all across the board, all 4 of the main cast members in the movie really had great chemistry. They played off well off of each other, and they really sold those characters. And nothing against the TV actors, but they don't have that same chemistry. They don't have really the same skill in putting those jokes over. Not to mention the budget for the zombies and the effects is just not nearly the same as it was for the movie, which is not surprising. But it really, not that we ever really complain about the special effects on The Walking Dead too much. Occasionally we'll point out something that looked weird, but it really even speaks more to how awesome The Walking Dead looks on a television budget, because the zombies in the show did not look very good. The effects weren't very good. Like I said, the jokes just kind of bombed, and it's the same 4 characters as the movie. It picks up after the movie. The events of the movie are referenced. It does not work, and it's a shame.
Did they mention Twinkies?
There is a Twinkie reference. Because you actually, I will spoil this, not that it's a big spoiler. The show actually starts with a scene before the zombie outbreak, or I should say right at the beginning, with Tallahassee, and there is a Twinkie reference right as everything starts to hit the fan.
It's interesting how they both Netflix and Amazon struck out in this, uncharted territory of online only, but exclusive programming. You have, like you said, the 13 pilots on the Amazon side, and then Netflix side, you have the House of Cards with Kevin Spacey, and then Hemlock Grove, the Eli Roth produced soap opera. From what you're saying, the quality level isn't that great, and the production value isn't that great on Zombieland. Whereas, House of Cards and Hemlock Grove both seem to have at least at least AMC or FX level quality of production design. I think production level just from watching them. It's kind of a shame. I really think that is kind of where exclusive programming is going to go in the future.
Yeah, and I should point out, like I said, I did watch all the other pilots, all the other non-children's program pilots anyway, and some of them actually did look really good. Alpha House, which was really good, and I really enjoyed that. Your mileage will vary based on your political leanings, I should say, with that program. It's very left side of the aisle leaning in terms of its stances. So, like I said, it's going to depend on where you lean on the aisle, whether you enjoy it or not. But it looked great. The Onion News Empire, which is yet another Onion, the Onion.com TV show, was really funny, and it also looked fantastic. I really enjoyed a show called Betas, or Betas _. I don't know exactly how you would pronounce that. That was really good. There's a musical comedy. They're all half-hour shows, and they're worth checking out, I think, even just to participate in the experiment of helping a burgeoning network choose what shows to run. Because that's what the whole thing is. Everybody can watch these pilots, everybody can rate them, and based on how many people watch them and how well they're rated, that's how they decide whether or not to bring these shows to series. And it's a very democratic and cool way to do it, I think. One other non-Walking Dead zombie thing I'd like to mention before we move on. There's a movie from a few years ago. I don't know if Jim or Brad have seen it, but gentlemen, have you seen a movie called Pontypool?
No, I haven't even heard of that.
I would like to recommend it to you and to our listeners. It is available on Netflix Instant.
Spell it, please.
Pontypool. It is a zombie movie with almost no zombies, and technically it's not a zombie movie. They're not zombies, but for all intents and purposes, just like a 28 Days Later, for the purposes of discussion and being overly general, let's call them zombies. It is a zombie movie where you follow a talk radio host in Ontario, or not really talk radio host, but a radio DJ in Ontario, who's just been hired there. He's only been there a little while. It's a very in the middle of a very big blizzard, when all of a sudden they're getting reports of strange events all throughout Ontario. And so, with only a few very minor exceptions, you almost never leave this radio studio, and it's just the host, the producer, and the technician, and a few other characters who come in and leave a few different times. You almost never see the zombies, just a couple times, and when you do, it's pretty messed up, but it is a very interesting take on how to do a zombie movie, where you're mostly just hearing things. You're hearing people call into the radio show, you're hearing their eye in the sky, weather guy calling in, about what he is seeing, and it is pretty amazing how, I don't know if terrifying is the right word, that might be exaggerating a little bit, but how much suspense and tension they can bring just with people telling you what they're seeing rather than actually showing it to you. I will say the movie has a bit of a weird ending, and I say that even for me as a guy who likes movies with weird and quirky endings. It's strange, but I think even if you didn't enjoy the ending, the rest of the movie, it would be worth it just to check out for the rest of it. It's pretty cool, and not too long either, maybe like an hour and 20 minutes, something like that. But Pontypool, it's available on Netflix Instant. It's probably available on Amazon Prime as well. I didn't check, but check it out. It's a cool and different take on the zombie movie.
Can you explain the name Pontypool, what that refers to?
There is an explanation given for how it's the name of the town that they're in Ontario. There is an explanation given. I forget exactly how it worked, but it had to do with the name of a bridge, and when you translate it into French, it means this. And the bridge was destroyed. It was confusing, but it's the name of the town. It's not a big plot point.
Yeah, well, you would think they would have named it something to make you go, I wonder if this has something to do with zombies, or somebody. Names are helpful, like Videodrome. What the hell's that about? I'm gonna watch that. But
I think it was mostly just named that because it's a small town in.
No, I get that, but I'm just saying you would think they would want to name it something that would make people curious, because just hearing Pontypool doesn't make me curious at all.
I understand it is a strange name, but it's also based on a book called Pontypool Changes Everything. So it's not like they just pulled that name out of nowhere, although I guess the the author might have. But it starred Stephen McHattie, so if that name means anything to anybody, he did an excellent job in the film. And like I said, it's worth the watch. It's not too long of a movie, and if you have Netflix Instant, it's free for you, so I recommend it.
As you know, the Walking Dead TV podcast does not exist in a vacuum. We're part of a whole Posse Syndicate family of podcasts available at hhwlod.com. And the now season of Walking Dead, we hope you check that out. So we have a lot of stuff going on the site. We have a lot of cool blogs and other great podcasts you might enjoy. And one of those podcasts out now with their name, Aaron Newworth, who's been a guest with us several times on the Walking Dead TV podcast, and who writes our episode-by-episode reviews on the website. His podcast with his buddy Abe, and they'll have they reach our 100th episode. So I want to shout them out. They're out now with their podcast. They review movies that are in the theater now. They do a great job, and happy 100th episode, guys. Just want to shout them out.
Congrats, Aaron.
Yeah, congrats, guys. We always enjoy your show. We enjoy having you on, and we enjoy just talking to you in the off hours because you're cool guys.
Yeah, and thank you, Aaron, for your contributions to the world of The Walking Dead and our little part in it.
Gentlemen, a question we've had from our listeners that we should delve into a little bit. What are your thoughts on Season 3 as a whole, now that we've had a little bit of time to reflect on it, to look back in some hindsight? We've seen all of the first 3 seasons now. Do your rankings change now a few weeks out? Do your thoughts on the season as a whole change? Are they still pretty much where they were when it ended?
Well, for me, Season 3 was the most bang for my buck. We all know the first half of Season 2 was very slow. The second half picked up. The first 6 episodes of the show, which was the entire Season 1, there were some ups and downs there, mostly up for me. But, I really did enjoy Season 3. It brought my favorite episode of the entire show, and I really wasn't tremendously bored in Season 3, much like I was in Season 2, so I'm happy with Season 3. I'm just, my biggest complaint about Season 3 is the season finale. And if all I'm really complaining about is the season finale, to me that means, that bodes well for the rest of the season, if I can only complain about one show.
Season 3 has been my favorite season so far. Compared to 1 or 2, I think it had a good balance in the first, especially in the first half. It had a good balance between tension, action, and character development. I think it might have stretched out a little bit there at the end of the season. We're coming on to the the confrontation with the governor and Woodbury versus the prisoner and whatnot. But other than that, and that's a minor quibble on my part. Season 3 has been my favorite season so far. I just we've gotten the really good character episodes, like the episode with Morgan. We've gotten the really good high action episodes. We've gotten the really tension filled, not knowing what's going to happen in the next episodes. I think here of the episode where Rick and the governor meet face to face over the table. We had it all this season. I thought it was a really good season overall. I really enjoyed where it went. And I don't have as big a problem as Brad does with the finale. In fact, I'm interested to see where it goes from here. It's probably going to be my biggest draw to Season 4, so it's been my favorite season so far.
Yeah, I don't know that my thoughts on Season 3 have really changed much. I still really enjoyed it for the most part. There were, of course, some dips in the tone and in the pacing as the season went on. But in general, I got to agree with you guys. I think it was my favorite of the 3 seasons. I'm interested to see where they go from here, especially with that ending, which, yeah, it wasn't as great as it could have been. I don't know that I still disliked it as much as a lot of people did. But I think in general, the stuff they did with Michonne eventually was very good. The stuff they did with Tyrese throughout was very good. All the new character stuff was pretty good, in my opinion. I was happy with what they did with most of the returning characters. Andrea's storyline, it didn't work as well as it could have. I like the idea of what they were trying to do with it, but it didn't really pan out that well until maybe the end. But in general, yeah, I thought this was probably the best looking of the seasons, the most intense, and I was really happy with it. We've got some listener feedback on the Facebook page about the Season 3 finale and just Walking Dead in general. Ken wants to know whether or not we thought there should have been a scene explaining more why they brought all the town of Woodbury to the prison. And his example would have been a scene after Andrea, shot herself. Rick and the gang decided to leave, and Tyrese could have said, "You can't leave us. What about all these people? The governor can come and kill them tonight." Rick and company have a discussion. Daryl says, "Prison's still safe." Rick looks at Karen and Tyrese and says, "Does that bus run?" Did we need a scene like that, or are you fine waiting until Season 4 to really get the explanation of why they chose the prison, why they brought everybody there?
I expect that scene will happen in the first episode of next season, so I'm not sure that it was necessary. It kind of would have felt superfluous. That's a big word. A little extra, a little unnecessary to have to explain it. I mean, for me, it was pretty self-explanatory, as to why he brought him back. So I personally did not need the explanation. And like I said, I'm sure we'll get it next year.
Yeah, I'm sure it'll be more. I think, Jordan, you've been fond of saying any question or quibble that we've had usually has been answered in the first 5 minutes of the next episode. So I think that's another example of this here. I really didn't need to have that explained to me that he brought them all, about why, he brought them all there, why, and all that. It was pretty self-explanatory. I mean, I think also without it being, announced ahead of time, it had more impact at the end of the episode. It's kind of an object lesson to Carl, like, look, human life does have value, even these people, So.
Yeah, although to be fair, usually it'll be explained the next 5 minutes, the first 5 minutes of the next episode. Usually the next episode isn't quite so long away, but I do share the sentiment. Phil Hurd, who sent me a nice gift the other day, and I think he said he sent one to the other guys on the show as well. So thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, Phil, for the comic. I appreciate that.
I got one too, Philip. I haven't had a chance to download that yet, but I'm looking forward to that. Philip is a really nice guy. This is not the first time he's done something like this, and it warms my heart.
We do appreciate it. He has the comment that if you take the second half of Season 2 and the first half of Season 3 and combine them, in his opinion, you get not one of the best of any show ever. Now, what are your thoughts? We've all pretty much said we like Season 3 the best, but...
Wait, say that again. I'm sorry. Say that one more time.
He says if you take the second half of Season 2 and the first half of Season 3 and combine them, you'd have the best season of The Walking Dead. Do you agree? Like, if we all said we like Season 3 the best, would a segmented season of second half of Season 2 plus the first half of Season 3 be better than that, in your opinion? Or does Season 3 as a whole work better for you?
I think I actually agree with that assessment, because obviously the second half of Season 2 was really good. I mean, we all loved it compared to the first half. I think the first half of Season 3 probably was, if you had to pick a half, it probably was the better half. So, yeah, I would say that's a fairly accurate assessment.
I don't know how to think about that.
For me, I think it'd be a toss-up. I really did like Season 3, and yes, I like the second half of Season 2 a lot. I'd have to rewatch all of that back-to-back to make that decision, but it would be close. And I think it could go either way. Luke Smith FX over on Facebook says he misses Jim. Of course, the Jim from the television show, although I'm sure he would miss you as well, Jim. He says,
I'm right here.
He said, how is it that such a small bit character, both in the show and comic, can be remembered and missed so much? And same goes for Amy, he says.
I guess because he died the most noble death we've seen anyone die in the whole series.
That's actually probably true.
Probably. That'd be my guess.
That's an interesting question, though, to jump off of that. Do you prefer, in a long-running story like this, a smaller character who comes in, does what they need to do, and then is dispatched from the show, and you have a really tight story for them, but it's very short, or a story that's maybe not done quite as well, but you get more of that character over time? Like let's say Jim versus Axel, 2 characters I liked a lot. Axel still had a shorter time frame, but it was much longer than Jim's. Do you prefer a story more like Axel's or more like Jim's for an individual character?
I think you can use both. To great effect. Jim, we ended up knowing a lot better than we did Axel before he died. Axel was kind of in and out quickly, but also had some good character moments there. But I think you can have both in the drama, and they both work in different ways.
I mean, Morgan, for crying out loud. We saw him in 2 episodes, and he's one of my most memorable characters from the show. It all depends on, I guess the story, what the character does, how the actor portrays him. Like Jim said, it could either way works. I was surprised that I was enthralled with Shane's character as long as I was, considering he was around much longer than he was in the book. So it works both ways.
As they introduce more characters in season 4, would you prefer 1 or 2 characters that have longer storylines, or maybe 5 or 6 characters that you just meet for a little bit but give you a really strong impact? Or would you rather stay with the main cast and just have brief touches on the new people from Woodbury?
I think it's time to really develop the main cast in the way that Scott Gimple did with the Morgan episode. He really shed a light on Michonne and Rick and Carl, and I think it's time to do that with all of the main cast. The Dixon brothers have had their time in the spotlight, especially Daryl, with the flashback episode from season 2 with his brother, and then, some of the interaction between the Dixons in this past season. They've had some good stuff, but I think it's time for, I'd really like to learn a lot more about Carol, especially Tyrese. I want to learn more about Tyrese. I think it's time to do that. Really quickly, Genesis 3D Love on Twitter DM'd the Walking Dead TV Podcast Twitter account, and I just wanted to let Genesis 3D Love know that I will get back to you via the email address you left instead of trying to communicate through DMs on Twitter, because that's a lot of information. I didn't want you to think I was ignoring you. I just have to sit down and type up an email. So please forgive me for not getting back sooner, but I haven't forgotten about you.
Well, that'll be it for this week. We will be back soon with another episode of the Walking Dead TV Podcast. Another reminder, in a couple days, we will be redoing the website. It should be up and spiffy and work better on mobile devices and everything, and it should fix any iTunes problems or general podcast downloading problems you may have had. So, in about a week, go over there and check, resubscribe to the feeds, everything should work hunky-dory, and pay attention to the Facebook groups, because all the information will be there, whether or not it worked, whether or not you need to do anything. Because maybe we just redo the website and everything works, you don't even have to resubscribe. We won't know until it happens. Unfortunately, Russ is working his butt off to make sure everything can work, which is why he's not here tonight, because he never stops working. The man is an animal. Pay attention to the Walking Dead Facebook group. There's lots of great content on there now, even in the off-season, and that information will be there as well. So until next time, you can leave us a voicemail at 516-468-7912, send us an email, comments at walkingdeadtv.com. Check out hhwlod.com for all of our great shows like Half Hour Wasted, Legion of Dudes, Black Box, Out Now with Aaron and Abe, the brand new Jersey Shore, which will be out soon, and all those shows can be found on Facebook as well. Follow us on Twitter at WDTV Podcast and at HHWLOD_network. And so until there's no more room left in hell and Dead Walk the Earth, remember, we really hope this website reshuffle goes well, because it's been a lot of work for us, and he needs a break. Have a good week, everybody.
Test 1.
Testing.
3, 4, 5.
8, 9, 10. You're a little behind me, Jim, but no problem.
You trying to tell me I'm slow? No, I know you're saying that's making a joke.
Your ping's a little slow, but that's better.
No, my input was not right. So just switch. I have 2 files, I guess. Sorry about that.
No problem.
I'm whacked out on Dayquil, dude. You're looking at my vertical.
Just call and response. ABC.
Oh, so you can sync it up.
Yeah,
I was only... Okay,
Sorry.
fine.
ABC.
D, E, F, G, H, I, J.
1, 2, 3.
4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
Okay, that should be enough.
Red and green and brown and blue. They're a really useful crew. Thomas the Tank Engine is Skynet. That's all I want to say. I wanted to go into bloopers.
Thomas the Tank Engine is Skynet?
He is. Think about it. He's a sentient machine.
You could do worse as a robot overlord.
I don't know, man. Thomas is pretty evil. I have to watch it every day.
Oh, that's right, with the kid. Yeah. That's alright. I grew up on Thomas the Tank Engine. I only emerged kind of screwed up, so.
Did he teach you what? Respect for aristocracy or like...
I don't think I ever had to watch that.
Oh, man, you're lucky.
Mostly taught me that I liked trains as a kid.
My daughter loves it.
Mine was Barney.
Oh, I'm hoping to avoid the Barney.
I hope you can too, Jim.
We've already gone through the Yogata Gata, the Team Umizumi. What else? The Bubble Guppies. Now we're on to Thomas.
And Clifford the Big Red Dog. Oh, which reminds me, if you guys haven't seen the new Louis C.K. Special, it's brilliant, and he talks about Clifford the Big Red Dog. It's really funny.